Good day, everyone, and welcome. I'm Mikey with two E's. I'm also known as Metro Mikey. The two E's in my name stand for the environment and everyone, the two things that I care about most. I'm broadcasting with renewable energy here from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. For those who I've not friended yet, I'm a business and sustainability coach, a founder of an aerial arts dance studio, a fitness trainer, and the proud owner of a sustainable salon where I specialize in eco-friendly platinum and blonding services. Today, I also have the honor of being one of your hosts and MCs for our Green Beauty Community live productions. If you're watching live from home or work or wherever, please drop your name and where you're tuning in from in the chat. We love hearing from you and feel free to ask any questions or comment at any time. I'll invite my colleague and other GBC Live hosts to introduce themselves. Hi, friend.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Rodriguez, and I am the owner of Enlightened Styles, a holistic salon in Virginia. I am also the founder of the Holistic Salon Academy and the host of the podcast, the Impactful Salon Owners podcast. And I'm just really excited to be here, as always, with amazing guests and my team.
Awesome. Thank you, Jacqueline. We love keeping you all updated. So here are a few announcements before we jump in. A little bit of a grave topic. We at GBC are saddened by the news of the LA fires that's affected thousands of individuals, families, businesses, salon businesses, beauty industry businesses, and communities. We wanted to share some resources with you for those who might need assistance or for those who want to help support fighting the good fight. We can utilize these resources, and feel free to share with your friends if they want to help out as well. We'll have some links in the chat. We'll have links in the show notes, but you can always reach out to the Pro Beauty Association. They have a disaster relief fund specifically for beauty professionals that are displaced from natural disasters and need support with their beauty business. You can apply for assistance if you yourself were affected, or you can donate to the cause to help these professionals rebuild. Again, these links are in the chat and they'll be in show notes anywhere that you're watching this if you're watching a replay. And we are always so impressed and grateful that the beauty industry is full of people who want to help hands-on. So Sherilyn Rochelle has put together a list of beauty professionals that you can donate directly to so they don't have to wait for funding assistance. We know it can be a hassle trying to get money where it's needed most. So feel free to use this link following in the chat if you want to reach out personally. Jacqueline, I'll pass it to you for our next update.
Yes. Happy Black History Month as we continue our commitment to sustainability and education in the beauty industry. We also want to take a moment to recognize the legacy and innovation and influence from Black beauty pioneers. Their contributions have shaped not only trends, but also the way we approach beauty. We have groundbreaking work in hair care and entrepreneurship, developing I can't pronounce the name. Mikey, do you have?
Let me see if I can find it here.
It's Johnson, developing fashion fair cosmetics, once known as the largest Black-owned community, beauty community in the world, and countless others who have changed the industry and our industry daily. And we have a few amazing resources to share on some of these leaders that Hannah's going to put in the comments below. The original influencers, women who revolutionized the beauty industry. And we have that link. And then we also have a link for the 5 historic Black leaders who changed the cosmetic industry for the better. And back to you, Mikey.
I believe that was Eunice Johnson.
That got
we got it.
My learning disability got me way off guard there.
It happens. But we're on track now. So a final announcement. As always, I'd love to help you with your yearly or quarterly taxes by reminding you that we at GBC are a nonprofit organization. So please consider donating to our foundation, where we champion sustainability in the beauty industry by bringing immense value to platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn, in addition to broadcasting these insanely helpful live webinars with lifetime replays. And before we start, I always like to remind everyone, our mission is to create a better planet by empowering our community and promoting sustainable practices. We prioritize eco-friendly materials, reduce environmental impact, and foster a culture of responsibility and positive change. So with that said, I'd love to get to know our esteemed and honored guest today. Hi, friend. How are you? Who are
Hello,
you?
Mikey and Jacqueline. Happy Monday. How are you guys?
We're good. So tell us who you are, number one, and what brings you here today.
What brings me here? Well, first of all, I'm so thrilled and honored to have been asked to join you guys today on this live webinar. So I am a marketing consultant. I've worked in the beauty industry on and off for decades now. I've done every aspect of marketing, from copywriting, social, packaging, events, partnerships, you name it, I've done it. PR, I've done every aspect of marketing within the space. I started to get disillusioned with the messages that we were sending to young women and girls about beauty and worth. So that was the first kind of ick I started to get in my career. And then secondly, as I started to kind of adopt more of a mindful lifestyle, I've always kind of been, much a plant eater and natural medicine kind of practitioner, just from my mother's a hippie. So like I kind of grew up in that space. And so I've always kind of lived a little bit more of a kind of natural lifestyle anyway. But as I started to do more research on sustainability, on plastic waste, on toxic chemicals in product, I started to get really grossed out about a lot of the product that I was responsible for kind of putting out into the world and supporting and marketing. And so I decided to become an entrepreneur. I opened a pretzel bakery with my husband at the time, random, I know. I ended up in that process. I knew nothing about business. I just kind of was winging it. And I ended up joining a regenerative business program called the Good Work Institute, which is now based in upstate New York in Kingston. And that was the first time that I had become aware of kind of like triple bottom line economics and just regenerative business. I had never heard of that term. I didn't know what it entailed. And it changed my career. So we all were a bunch of entrepreneurs in the New York City area who were just all trying to, run businesses, but ethically and sustainably as possible. And so that was an amazing training facility for us. After that, I decided to go back to school and get my MBA in sustainability. And since then, I have worked in the HIV space. I kind of got roped back into beauty, resurrecting Madam C.J. Walker's hair care line. You mentioned Jacqueline, Fashion Fair. That brand, Madam C.J. Walker's brand, iconic. She is, for those of you who are unfamiliar with her, she's a Black woman who is the first self-made female millionaire in the United States. Not just Black woman, but woman, period. And she started off making hair care products. She was basically the Avon lady before Avon. And so that kind of reignited my love for the beauty industry. But I wanted to do it differently. I wanted to focus on underrepresented groups like Black and brown women. What I've come to learn about those formulations of those products, in particular, when we talk about like racialized beauty, right? So you talk about changing your hair texture from something different from what comes out of your hair naturally, changing your skin tone. So all of those skin lightening creams have a lot of chemicals that are, in fact, not good for you. So now I, aside from running my own brand, have a brand called BLK Alchemy, which is the plant-based sensual wellness body care brand. So we make lotions and potions. We make a body oil, massage oil that is toxin free. We also make a personal lubricant that is silicone based. Again, it only has 3 ingredients, very simple and clean. And then I wanted to have one completely package free product. So we make a solid lotion bar, which is basically just a bunch of waxes and juicy butters and oils in a solid form, which means that it's great for travel. So, you won't get it taken away from you because it's a solid. And, everything that we make is preservative free because it's waterless. So that's one way that I kind of, am kind of giving back to our industry and giving customers an alternative, something that they can feel very comfortable putting on their skin and on their children's skin. And I also have my consulting practice. My agency is called Copy, Color, and Cause. And so I work with some beauty clients, but also just, mission-based brands that are run by, ethical leadership who want to do better. They want to engage with underserved, underrepresented customers. They want to create products and goods that are good for the environment, for our bodies, for wildlife, and just, make some positive change. So that's what I do. And I'm so thrilled to specifically be talking about clean beauty in this webinar.
That is amazing, Barella. We're so honored to have you here. And I know that we talked about business and packaging and branding and marketing, but here at the GBC, I think that it's good that we educate people who are brand new to the, clean, toxic-free, sustainable lifestyle. So I kind of want to dive into the product formulations. Obviously, we said that they were waterless and, clean, green, toxin-free. Which products did you have to remove? Which ones are some of the worst ones that you came across in your business career?
Oh gosh, in my business career, so when you're working for a brand, you don't really have the opportunity like to question, those formulations. Especially, so I've always worked in the marketing or PR department, so I'm not a cosmetic chemist, so wasn't ever really like my place to say, hey guys, can we like not do that? And so the only opportunity that I had to do that was to simply formulate myself. When you're formulating, when you hire a laboratory to develop a product for you from scratch, they're going to do what you tell them to do. So they're going to prioritize what you tell them to prioritize. So that can be a certain attribute. That can be, make me a shampoo for color treated hair, and it's got to have this, the payoff has to be this texture or whatever it is. And so they, and oftentimes, brand leaders, especially if they're just starting out, they may not know what those ingredients are that they even need to put in something. So they'll go to the lab with, say, a benchmark and say, like, I love this shampoo, basically rip this off, basically is what happens. But you have to give them parameters and guidelines. So I was very adamant about, for instance, the body oil. One of the worst toxins available is fragrance. So what people don't realize is that legally, a brand only has to write the term fragrance in the ingredient list. They're not obligated to let the consumers know how many ingredients make up that one ingredient, which is fragrance. And the way they get away with it is they say, well, this is proprietary information. We don't want anybody to rip off our fragrance, so we're not going to tell you what's in it. The downside of that, of course, is that as a customer, you don't know if that ingredient has 10, 20, 30, 40 different individual ingredients that may or may not be natural, that may or may not be an allergen to you. So what we wanted to do was make sure that we had a fragrance that was not an allergen, that was plant-based. We had it developed separately from the laboratory that was developing our body oil so that we could control what was in it. So we hired an aromatherapist from Ghana who has her own plant-based collection. And we told her the directive was like, give me something sexy, witchy, kind of like, give me jungle goddess, basically. And she nailed it. The other thing that we wanted to do was to just eliminate the need for really, really toxic preservatives. So a lot of the preservatives we now know are parabens. And parabens are really powerful chemicals that cause all kinds of problems, endocrine disrupting issues, infertility, obesity, birth defects. At the very least, you may have an allergic reaction to something. And on the other side of the spectrum, it could cause cancer. And so we know this now. And so we definitely kind of just in general encourage people not to use products with parabens. The way we get around using really, really harmful preservatives is by not including water in our formulas. Once you include water in the formula, you are introducing the potential for bacterial growth. And so in order to prevent that, you got to add something. So here's the thing. If you don't put water in the first place and you only have those juicy plant-based ingredients, that, number one, improves the efficacy of your product in the first place. People always wonder why when they're using body lotions, they'll get a temporary relief of dryness. But then after an hour or two, couple hours, your skin is back dry again. Well, that's because you're putting water on your skin. I encourage anybody to go to any big box store, drugstore, grocery store, pick up 5 random bottles of lotion. I promise you the first ingredient is going to be water. And then the rest is just a bunch of stuff you can't pronounce, and then perfume or fragrance, which is basically, a synthetic fragrance that mimics something that's actually exists in nature, like vanilla. So our lotion bar, for instance, we use food grade vanilla, and then our personal lubricant is flavorless and fragrance free.
I love how you broke all that down, because as a salon owner, and that's, what I focus on as well, is really looking behind the scenes of what is actually in the ingredients. And that's the number one thing I get asked the most is like, how can a consumer or a salon owner, how do you become more informed on these harmful ingredients without relying solely on their branding and marketing?
Yes. So the brands, these are for-profit companies. So their whole goal is to get you to buy their product, love it, buy it over and over again, tell all of your friends, right? So they hire people like me to spend, and they say, well, don't focus on our horrible ingredients. Focus on the fact that we use like 20% post-consumer recycled material in our packaging, right? So there's a lot of greenwashing out there. And so there's a lot of look over there, not over here, that brands are doing, and they pay people like me a lot of money to do that. The good news is there are lots of third-party resources available to customers where they can go and check these ingredients and check these specific products. You can search by ingredient, or you can search by the actual name of the product. So there are apps called Clearya, for instance. Think Dirty. Clearya is spelled Clearya. There's also the Skin Deep database that the EWG has put out. That's the Environmental Working Group. And again, so what these sites will do, and these apps will do, is they will rate the product. And a lot of times you can actually, like in real time, scan the ingredient list or the barcode of the product in the actual grocery store on the shelf before you even take it home. And it will tell you, it will give you a rating. So it will say like, these are the ingredients that are in there, and it may or may not be an irritant. This is a carcinogen. This is very dangerous. This is an endocrine disruptor. This will cause, these particular problems. So there's that. So the issue is that there is no universal standard for clean or sustainable, right? So a lot of those are actually, they're marketing terms. So clean, sustainable, plant-based, safe, eco-friendly. These are not technical terms. They don't mean anything. And so brands just kind of like throw them around. If you were to say that your product is vegan, Leaping Bunny certified, or organic, those are classifications by the government. So you can't just say that a product is USDA organic. You have to go through an actual process in order for that to be the case. So that's also confusing to people. And so, besides the greenwashing and all of the, marketing terms that don't really mean anything, the good news is, like I said, is that, you can be informed and look up every ingredient in every product by name. If it's something that came out like, a couple of months ago, then maybe it might not already be in that database. But at that point, you're really just focused on the ingredients. And so I think the other thing that's confusing for people is if they see an ingredient and they say, well, I know what that is. I can pronounce it. So I know what that is, so it must be safe. And I'll give you a perfect example. There are a lot of personal lubricants out there that have glycerin. So somebody will say, oh, glycerin, I know what that is. It's sugar. Yes, it is sugar. Yes, it is naturally derived. The problem is you don't want sugar anywhere near your vulva. So even though it is natural, it still may cause you irritation and harm because it's not supposed to be in your vagina. You don't want sugar in your vagina like that. You just don't want that. And so there's a lot of confusion. And so that's why I do the work that I do. And that's why I'm here in this webinar. I do realize that the focus, you're really talking to other business owners and people who are already in the space. But hopefully, through this conversation, I would like to make it easier for salon owners, for brand leaders, for folks in the industry to be able to have these conversations with customers.
That was such a great segue right into the next thing that I'm going to ask, because throughout the your career, your education, and your experience, we've talked about the ingredients, we've talked about the branding, the packaging, the certifications. While you were going through all of this, and I know I was doing my own research, to get to become a sustainable leader and advocate as well. So while all of that was happening, now that we're here, what shifts have you noticed in the clean beauty movement, from then until now?
Yeah. So the shifts that I've seen more customers try products that come from other countries. So, for instance, I'm a big fan of Korean beauty. They have much, much stiffer regulatory standards. So anything that comes from Korea, I still feel pretty good about. I still run the ingredients through, but in general, I still feel pretty good about it. The EU bans 1,300 toxic chemicals from their product, 1,300. The United States only bans 30. Okay, so we're really, reliant upon brands from foreign countries, doing the work that our own country will not do. I will say that the Biden administration in 2022 passed some legislation. The Modernization of Cosmetics Regulation Act of 2022 is the first kind of update to regulatory standards. It doesn't nearly go far enough, in my opinion. But what it does is it requires registration of manufacturers. It requires mandatory recall of harmful ingredients, although it does not list what those ingredients are. And it does require the disclosure of fragrance allergens, because again, fragrance is one of the worst allergens of all the ingredients that we're talking about. What it does not do, however, it does not ban or restrict the use of certain ingredients. It does not add to that list of 30, which is minuscule. And it does not call for supply chain transparency. So that's unfortunate. So the other thing that we could do is pay a little more attention to where we're buying our products. So I'm a big fan of the retailer Credo. Credo has their own clean standard. So again, we ban 30 ingredients. The EU bans 1,300. Credo bans 2,700 ingredients. So you can be rest assured that anything that you buy in Credo is going to be vetted. There are also other, independent stores in New York City. We have Pretty Well Beauty, which is owned by a fabulous Black Latina. And I trust her. I trust everything in her stores because she also has a very, very strict standard. So, look out for those retailers. I know Sephora has their own clean stamp. So I would say, start with those retailers. Start to think about, Korean beauty or some other European brands. The other thing that I'm noticing is that because customers are getting more informed about what to avoid and what works, and the economy is not so great right now, so people are looking for multi-purpose product that serves several uses. So that saves money, that saves packaging, that saves waste. The fewer ingredients you put on your skin and hair, the fewer opportunity there is for things to counteract. So even if you do have all kind of natural, safe ingredients, they may still interact with each other. and you may unintentionally be harming, the texture of your skin and hair in the process. And the standards are much higher for natural products. So I think for several decades, we had natural products that just didn't perform. And so trying to convince a woman to buy a lipstick that doesn't have a great payoff, or a blush that doesn't have a great payoff, or mascara that runs, or shampoo that doesn't leave your hair feeling so great, it's hard to convince that customer to continue to buy that product if it doesn't do what it says it's supposed to do. So great, I won't get cancer, but my hair sucks, so I'm not gonna buy that. And so I'm seeing a lot more transparency of these brands. I'm seeing independent brands launch without these harmful ingredients in the first place. It's very hard to convince a legacy brand that's been around for decades, that has a customer base, where people are used to a certain payoff, a certain result, and then you go playing with the formula, they know right away. And so if they're not getting the same skincare and hair care results that they were before, they're not going to want to buy that product. And it doesn't matter how much you say, but this is so much safer and better for you and your health. It has to perform. And so that's a reasonable expectation that customers have. And so what we're starting to see in formulations is these really complex proprietary, blends of different ingredients that are high performing. So it's all really exciting. I mean, this was a $7 billion industry in 2022, and the global clean beauty market is supposed to hit over $14 billion in 2028. So we're seeing the trajectory, and I think it's all good news from here.
So the question I was going to ask you next was where do you see this going? You answered some of that, and I love where the industry is going, how the consumers are starting to expect this. Any support that you could give salon owners or brands on really how to get their clients to see that their brands are going to work just like our tried and trues before, that whole piece of it not working as well, and really having the branding for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the homework of the salon owner. The onus is on the salon owner to sell, to convince, which they're already doing. Come to me, I will take care of your hair. You'll leave out of here looking fabulous, beautiful, feeling good about yourself. And also, your skin and hair won't be harmed in any way. The environment won't be harmed in any way. And so it's just a matter of shifting perspective, and just really letting people know that there are really great products out there, that there are brands that are really serious about, not letting go of the core purpose of the company, which is to create products that work and sell, but that we're creating products that, work very well and do no harm. And so it's possible. And so it's, the onus is on the salon owner to go out there and find those products, to have those conversations with manufacturers and say, you know what, I really love this styling gel, but your entire line is virgin plastic. And we as a salon are trying to minimize virgin plastic. And maybe your favorite, 5 brands, they don't get it yet and they're still using virgin plastic. And so you implement a really robust recycling program. And, you incentivize customers to recycle at home or whatever it is. That's not necessarily greenwashing. That is really just meeting the brands and meeting your customers where they are, because we can all do better. I mean, do I buy everything in glass? I don't. I try to buy as much as I can in glass. I try to buy as much as I can in bar form. When it comes to personal care and beauty. But there's still products that I like just because I like them and I haven't been able to find something to replace. So, it's just a matter of just doing little bit every single day and just encouraging people to do just a little bit more than they did the day before. People are not motivated by shame and guilt. People are motivated by positive intention. And so, a lot of the climate change information that we're getting is all horrible. Like, oh my God, we have, X amount of years before it all goes to shit. And so that doesn't really motivate people because it's so far away, it's abstract, and it doesn't affect them in the way that, it should probably, So you just have to make it really personal. You have to just, meet people where they are, meet yourself where you are, and be patient. And just do the best you can and continue to do research and continue to do the best that you can every day.
I don't think that I could have said that any better. So let's put a nice little bow on this because I want to shift gears just a little and talk about We Act. Because I
Yes.
know it's something very special. So what can you tell us about We Act? How did they get started? And what are their goals?
Yes. So We Act for Environmental Justice is an environmental justice nonprofit in New York. And they do so many amazing things. I'm a part of their beauty justice working group. And we are a team of mostly women of color who educate New Yorkers, particularly New York women of color, about the dangers of specifically racialized beauty products. So that's hair straighteners, skin lighteners in particular, that are particularly dangerous and cause all kinds of health problems for Black women, for Black and brown women. In addition, so that's one thing that we do is just like educate, hold events, educate about a lot of these toxins, and give them alternative brands such as my own to purchase. In addition to that, we are trying to lobby. We go to Albany to lobby support for the Beauty Justice Act, which would ban some of the more harmful ingredients that still appear in products. So, your parabens, your BHAs, your formaldehydes, your mercuries, and other heavy metals. In addition to the work that they do, and that's the only work that I'm involved in personally, but they also do all kinds of education around clean air, clean water, clean jobs, sustainable and inclusive use of public lands in New York City. So it's a really amazing organization that the website is weact.org. And so I encourage all of you to follow them on Instagram, really kind of get involved in a lot of their campaigns. And, even if you don't live in New York, this is still really valuable information that you could even kind of say, you know what, my state, they're not putting up a bill similar to this. And so, maybe you can encourage like local lawmakers if you don't actually live in New York State. But I love We Act. They've been around for decades, and they do really, really beautiful, beautiful environmental justice work in New York City.
I love that. And I love that you brought up in other cities to like start rallying for your own city, because the more we get everybody on board, the better we're going to be able to make the entire industry. So what do you hope personally you can accomplish through the bio group?
Through the bio group. So I really want to just do whatever it is that I can to expand sustainable and clean beauty and just clean living. I just think that, when we talk about wellness, it has to be multifaceted. It's not just about what we eat. It's also what we put on our skin, what we put on our hair, how that impacts, am I contributing to toxic waste in the environment, in the waterways? I don't want these single-use plastic products to end up in the landfill for centuries. It doesn't make any sense when there's so many alternatives out there. And so I just want to ensure that people are making better choices for themselves and their families. I want to make sure that they are informed about all the resources that are now available that was not available 20, 30, 40 years ago. For those of us who have hippie parents, they just kind of like knew this stuff. Like, I don't know why my mom knew what she knew, but like, there was no internet to, do all of that research like there is now. So we are in a really, really beautiful and fabulous time where brands understand that we are in control and we are in charge and we have a lot of power that we can use with our dollars. And so that's not just the end user, but that's also a salon owner. You are in control of what products you bring into your salon. And so you can make better choices as a salon owner, as a business owner, as well as an individual consumer. So I just want to spread the love. Plants are amazing. There's we've been using this stuff in the diaspora, all these oils and butters. We've been using this stuff in the diaspora for literal centuries. And there's a reason for that, because it works. And we need to kind of like get back to basics and fall back in love with plants.
Oh, I love that. Say it louder for those in the back, of course.
Fall back in love with plants.
But while we're talking about plants and, empowering salon owners and stylists and suite owners and beauty professionals, what would you recommend if somebody wanted to start their own clean beauty wellness brand? What is a challenge you faced working with a lab or something in packaging or something like that? What insight could you give to somebody who wanted to go that route in the beauty industry?
Yeah. So, innovate, think outside the box. So, I have a client, the company's called The Refig. It's a plant-based hair care line. And she makes bar shampoos and conditioners. And the challenge that we were having with packaging was that, obviously if you have a bag and you take the product out of the bag, you're losing the branding, right? You're losing literally, like, this is a shampoo bar. This is what's in it. This is how you take it out of the bag. Most people, throw cartons away, secondary packaging, they throw away. So the challenge with having a bar shampoo and conditioner is that you've got these two bars, and after a while, you can't remember which is the shampoo and which is the conditioner. And so we got rid of the bags because for a whole host of reasons they weren't working. And so we transitioned into a metal tin, which can be reused, which can serve as a travel case. And then as far as product ID, what we did was we branded a ribbon that can be strung through the actual bar. So it's like a donut shaped bar. We changed the shape of the bar to be a donut shape so that it literally says conditioner and shampoo on the actual ribbon. And then that way, you don't have that issue any longer. It elongates the life of the product because you can now hang it instead of having it sit in a soap dish where it kind of like, soap gets like nasty and like, that water that sits at the bottom. Well, that's product that you're not using. So when it's hung from, the faucet or whatever, then it elongates the life of the product. So, there's different things that you can do to kind of think outside the box, to avoid using plastic, which is very hard because it's ubiquitous and it's cheap. And so you have to really think about, like, does this product even need to be a liquid? Could I get away with this product being a solid? And that will increase, the efficacy of the product, and it completely transforms what's required for storage for that product. So, again, it's your product. So you have to tell your packaging supplier, your formulator, your chemist, what it is that you want and what's most important to you. So for instance, when we were developing BLK Alchemy, I went to them and I said, we need to say that this is a plant-based company. We need to say that this is a sensual company. We need to say that this is a brand that targets Black and brown women, which means all the ingredients need to be from the diaspora. These are ingredients that, our people have been using for centuries. And so these are ingredients that they know. And so, you have to be really clear about what it is that you want and do a ton of research so that you can even know what it is that you're going for. Buy 20, 30 body oils to see which ones you like the best, and then figure out what those ingredients are. Buy 20, 30, lotion bars and shampoo bars, see how they perform. What are the fragrances that you like the most? Is it you want something citrusy that reminds you of the morning? What are the shapes that make the most sense? And obviously everything comes down to budget, so you may not be able to do everything. And maybe you can't afford to do glass out the break, and so you may be able to do post consumer, or if you do a plastic bottle, maybe you make your formula very concentrated so that you use half. You use a bottle that's this big as opposed to this big, and then you're still reducing plastic. So there's ways of getting around it. And you do what you can, so maybe because of the formula, you have to use, nobody has to use plastic, but let's just say that that's virgin plastic is all you can afford at the moment. And based on the formula, that's all you can really do. But then on the back end, you donate 5% to, a forestry nonprofit to kind of offset the harm. So it's all about offsetting harm. It's all about doing the best you can with the budget that you have. And just improving over time.
I personally have been really, really inspired just over the last 15 years of being in this space and really looking at clean and sustainable brands on how many innovative businesses are out there. And that's one of the things that I tell my salon owners all the time is we just have to look outside of our normal box because
Yes.
we've been using the same thing over and over again and we just don't even think about it anymore.
Exactly.
But there's a whole host of amazing entrepreneurs who are being very innovative and really putting what we know to the test. And I just love everything that you've been talking about. It's been so fun to hear.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Yeah, it's baby steps. We have more information now than ever. We have more successful clean brands than ever. The sales they speak for themselves. We're talking about an industry that's, doubling in less than a decade. So, the customers, this is what they want. This is what they deserve. And I think as a brand owner, as a salon owner, you want to feel good about not poisoning your customers. Why is that so crazy? It's definitely something to want to achieve. And you don't have to sacrifice sales. You don't have to sacrifice efficacy. This is a brand that I love that I bought from Pretty Well Beauty. I hope I'm saying her name right. Era Perez. This is a makeup line that I'm wearing right now. I'm not sure if you can tell, but this is a little pot of color, and it's this great color, very, very pretty. And I feel safe putting it on my lips and my cheeks because I'm going to lick it off eventually and I'm not going to get poisoned. And I love that. And this is the pencil that I'm wearing. So, are there lip colors that I still really love because I love the brand? Yes. But I do buy those products a lot less now that, there's something that I can wear every day that I know is safe and owned by a woman.
Barella, all of this is so good. Obviously, we're all convinced that you have the knowledge and tips and tricks and tools to help everyone. So I'm going to keep everybody wanting more and ask where people can find you after we end the live production and how can we hire you for your consulting services?
So my agency is called Copy, Color, and Cause. And I basically help creatives and business leaders prioritize sustainability and ethics and decision making. And so that's making better packaging choices, making better formulation choices, really trying to figure out who are those underserved customers, connecting with them. I call them conscious consumers. And those are folks that, it depends on what's important to you. If you are more concerned about animal testing, then you're going to look for that leaping bunny, icon on that product. If you're more concerned about, toxic chemicals, then that's something different. I work with a variety of companies, not just beauty companies. People can find me on my website, copycolorandcause.com. If you're interested in my brand, Black Alchemy, which again is at the intersection of sensual wellness, clean beauty, and melanated skincare. And that website is blackalchemy.co, BLK alchemy.co, and our Instagram is at BLK Alchemy.co. And then on Instagram is my personal account. I don't have an account for Copy, Color, and Cause, but my personal Instagram is Barella R17.
Thank you so much, Barella. I'm hoping that everyone's going to reach out and contact you immediately, but definitely by the end of the business day. All of these links and Instagram handles and everything will be available in the chat for the audience, and then they will be in show notes wherever you're consuming this replay if you're not watching live. Jacqueline, where can we find you?
I love being on Instagram. It's actually me answering. So you can find me on Clean Beauty Biz Coach. That's the handle.
All right. Beautiful. Thanks, Jacqueline. And just for those who don't know or aren't aware, you can find the Green Beauty Community on all social media platforms at Green Beauty Community, except Instagram. That was already taken. So we are the Green Beauty Community Foundation there. I would like to remind everyone that these live broadcasts and all of our information on all social media platforms are brought to you, for you, and by you. So we want to remind you to head over to greenbeautycommunity.com if you feel called to donate to our cause, or you can use the links in any one of our social medias. I'm Metro Mikey with 2 E's on all social media platforms. And until next time, we're wishing you the best sustainable life, and we'll catch you on the next GBC Live. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Guys, that was
really
fantastic. Yeah, are you doing okay, Mikey? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm good. I sound worse than I am, so.
I got a little. I hear it now. The little bug in your throat. How did we do, Hannah?
Oh, you guys did amazing. That was like truly, I think this is my new favorite webinar we did. Like true, especially like, I don't know if this is going to be beat for 2025. It was just so full of information and like so many good resources. Like, Barella, you're a natural. Like truly, I feel like you are just the easiest person to talk to and listen listen to. Like you really just did such an incredible job. So like thank you.
Definitely. Congratulations, guys.
So I'm so honored that you guys wanted me on, and I hope your audience got something out of it.
For sure.
We are.
I absolutely love it.
The audience can hear us.
Oh, they can still hear.
Oh,
hi guys.